Hey, so today let's talk about levels of English learning and why it's important to know what your level is. I'll also be talking about the books I've been reading, which were Ricochet Joe, finished that yesterday, short, fast, fun read by Dean Koontz, and also the Dichotomy of Leadership by Leif and Jocko. So we'll start off with the books. Those are always fun, right? Dean Koontz wrote a short book, short read, about a 90-minute short read, so fast and fun. Listened to that yesterday, the audiobook version while I was jogging. Took about 40 minutes because I listened to it on twice the speed. So if you're an English student, that might not be so feasible because, you might want to slow it down a little bit to understand. But if you're listening in your native language, then listening to it fast, I like to do that when I watch videos on YouTube, when I read audiobooks, because you can chew through a lot more information in less time. So it took about 40 minutes. My jog ran about 5.5K, and when I got back, there was still about 15 minutes left to the book, so probably took just under an hour to listen to it, so not long at all. The book, I hate to say, it's kind of a sci-fi thing, and I hate to say it's like about time travel, but there is a little element of time travel in there. So, quick summary, this kid, he starts getting these weird vibes, messages, and chasing down information, following leads that he has in his head, and there's this girl that helps him, and she understands what's going on because her family's been involved in fighting this parasite thing, and he has these skills. It almost kind of reminded me of Dark Tower by Stephen King with the gunslinger, so something along that lines. Kind of a sad book. At the end, it was kind of confusing. I had to go back and reread it 3 times because there was one section where he was referring to someone, and as the book continued, I thought it was the person that he was following, but then when I went back to reread it, then I understood he was referring to the person that had just been there. So it kind of threw me off for a bit, but once I understood it and it made sense, then it was interesting. So, like a short read, it didn't have a complete ending. It ended, but of course, you want to know what happens to him after that, which I think it'd make a good book if it continued on into a novel. The concept was interesting. The other book was Dichotomy of Leadership. So it's written by 2 guys who are Navy SEAL commanders and deal with leadership, working with teams. And so they're talking about leadership kind of from that perspective, the paradoxes of leadership. They wrote a book. They had some people taking it to extremes, so they wrote another book to explain what they meant. And I think that's kind of where it came from. So there were a lot of good topics in there about how to be a good leader, how to lead your team, how to communicate with your leader, taking responsibility for your team, but not going to the extreme, trying to help one person to the detriment of the rest of the team, which kind of seemed the other people on your team. So there's a lot of good information in there. And today I'll be taking a look at Work Like an Immigrant, which, like I said, was funny. It's all the very beginning. Some interesting stories there, so I hope it lives up to the premise. And if you want to read along, we can discuss that later. So, coming back to your English speaking, levels of English speaking, right? You've got various standards, tests that you can take to test your level. There's the IELTS, the TOEFL, Pearson, different tests like that. And generally, when you think of learning English, there are various levels. There are the 5 levels, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which some systems use, and the Common European Framework Reference, which uses the letters A1, A2 for beginner, B1, B2 for intermediate, and C1, C2 for advanced level speakers. So Why did you ask, David, why is it important to understand that? Yesterday we kind of mentioned it briefly, the concept of goals and habits and reaching your goals. And so what happens is a lot of times students just start studying, they jump in, take a course, start studying, but they don't really know what level they're at. And so it's important because if you don't, oftentimes you get frustrated really fast and give up because you're studying the wrong material. Maybe it's too easy. So this is something that happens, a student will start studying, but the content's too easy, they feel bored, they don't feel like they're learning, and so they give up. Or they go to the other extreme, they study something that's way too hard, that's not appropriate for their level, and they get overwhelmed and frustrated and want to give up as well. So a lot of times English books will actually tell you what level they're for. This, they should at least. This is for the A2 level, or this is for the B1 level. And then you can study the appropriate material. But for you personally as a student, I think this is a good tool for a teacher or a school to evaluate students and group them by levels. But it's important for you as well as a student, because remember we talked about the concept, if you saw yesterday's video, just review quickly for those who didn't see that yet. You have the goal and you're trying to reach a goal. So there's various obstacles that you're going to face, challenges and difficulties at each level. So when you start studying, as a beginner, you might be studying with one material one way. And when you reach another level, you're going to face other challenges, your other difficulties, and the material, the way you were studying before, might not help you overcome those in the best way. Not that there's any one perfect way, but a lot of students, they reach that intermediate level and they kind of plateau. They feel like they're not developing, they're not progressing, because what they were studying and doing before isn't helping them now. So you've got to find new ways, and that's why it's important to constantly be testing and experimenting on yourself, testing new material, new methods. Most English courses online and material, they have trial 14 days to try it out or whatever, 30-day money back guarantee. So try stuff out, test stuff out, find out what works for you best at the level you're at to develop the skills you need and overcome the challenges you're facing. So you've got the level, the challenges, skills that you're developing. So some material might focus more on your listening, other might help you focus more on the grammar. So as you study, different things, you're going to improve each area of your English speaking. So especially if you're studying on your own, if you're a self-taught student, so you can develop all the necessary skills: reading, writing, listening, speaking, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, learning new expressions on your own, using, like I've said before, just audio and text. If you have the text and the audio, you can develop all of those skills. So it's just a matter of how you apply that. So I'm not saying necessarily that you have to have a course, but you can, even without having to spend a lot of money on material, you can develop all of the necessary skills using just simple tools like that. Podcasts, movies, music, the Bible that comes with the audio and the text. You've got the mini stories, like I've mentioned before, that I use with my students. So there's so many resources out there that you have in hand today. So in that sense, it's almost easier today. Maybe the problem is that there's so much information, so many things that you can use, that students kind of get overwhelmed in that sense. So, test things out. Sign up for 3 online websites and test them out and find the one that works best for you. Like when I was studying a while back French, I remember I signed up for several sites, and each site had something different that I liked about it. Like on Boozoo.com, there was a specific writing exercise that they had. So I didn't really like anything else on the site. I didn't really study the stuff on there, but I would go in and do the writing exercises because I liked the way it helped me develop my vocabulary and writing and practice what I was learning. So like on different sites and different material, you'll find different things that you like and help you at that stage that you feel are beneficial. So that's where the evaluation comes in, the 5th step in the 5-step daily practices. Evaluate daily how what you're doing, how that material that you're using is helping you. If it's beneficial and it's really helping you and you feel that, improvement, then continue doing that or even increase the amount of time you're spending on that. So, if you're doing 5 different things and you see there's one specific thing that's really helping you develop, then eliminate some of the other things that you're doing that aren't working so well and increase the time you're spending on that. So maybe spend 30 minutes on that and really focus and hone in on that skills as long as you can feel that development and progress. So the other things, of course, like I said, that aren't helping you, you can delete or eliminate those. And constantly be experimenting and testing. So you're going to find certain core activities that help you, core activities that really help you develop those skills, and you're going to be spending time on those. So maybe you're spending an hour a day studying for, studying English, developing your skills, and as you go, continue experimenting other things. So like every day, try something new, Then you study in your core stuff. Don't completely forget it, but test new things. Try one new thing a day or a couple things a week, depending on how much time you have available, and see if you can find something better. Because I guarantee you, that one thing that you're doing now that's really helping you, that's good, you're going to reach a point a month, 3 months, 6 months down the line where you're going to be doing it just because you've always done it that way, but it's not as beneficial now because the thing that it was helping you do, you already accomplished, you already overcame that problem. So you're going to have other challenges and you'll find other tools that help you. Interestingly enough, things that you tried before that you didn't find so beneficial, like I said, you're going to be experimenting different things. You'll try things that you're like, that didn't really help you at that time. But later, when you get to another level or you face another challenge, you're going to remember that. You're going to go back and do it again, and you're going to be like, wow, this time this is really beneficial. So you're going to go through phases. So these different things that you're experimenting with, practicing with, constantly be trying new things. Remember the concept of the 1% rule that we talked about yesterday? Seeking to improve a little bit each day. Okay, so that's it, guys. Y'all have a good day. God bless. Talk to you later, and bye-bye.